Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator News and Updates. And we got some new aircraft as well as some stuff being teased for down the road. So stick around, guys. Make sure, if you guys can, that you join us at Flight Sim Expo 2023. That's right, Overkill Simulations is going to be present this year, guys, at the Lone Star Museum in Houston, Texas. If you guys are interested in joining us there, be sure to check down the description below. There is a coupon code that can save you guys a bit of money using my personal reference to get you there. Again, that'll save you a bit of cash in your Flight Sim Expo 2023 experience. This is going to be June 23rd through the 25th of 2023. Again, in Houston, Texas, at the Lone Star Flight Museum. I went a few years ago in Las Vegas, and they are an absolute great time. There's some very, very informative and educational seminars to help better your flight sim experience, as well as a ton of developers of both hardware and software that you guys actually get to try out, essentially a try before you buy experience, as well as talking with the developers themselves and finding out what the products are all about. So again, guys, it's going to be Flight Sim Expo 2023 in Houston, Texas. I hope to see you guys all there. Don't forget to use my coupon code that you can find down in the description below. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides as well as any future guides that come along down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below, and thank you to all of my current subscribers. All right, you guys. So first up here is a new release from FlyingIron Simulations. They have finally released their BF-109. Now, if you guys are not familiar with FlyingIron Simulations by any chance here, they put out some very, very realistic World War II fighters for Microsoft Flight Simulator. I would love to see them start developing for DCS World, but maybe something in the future. Anyway, their release of the ME-109 or BF-109, depending on how you recognize the aircraft, is said to be their most authentic and realistic aircraft that they've put out yet to date. And that's saying something again, given that their previous aircraft are really on par. Very, very authentic, very, very feature rich. Now, as of right now, it's only available on their website for 45 Australian dollars. However, it will be coming to the Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace in a few weeks. It is important to remember, however, that the Microsoft Marketplace does not allow any kind of armament. All aircraft must be pacifist. So if you guys want to see any of the visible armaments and features that come along with that, you want to make sure that you buy it separate. Also, given the news of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, guys, do keep in mind that all of your add-ons should be portable. So keeping them in the community folder, in my opinion, is the safer way to go and allows you to manage them and store them much, much easier. Now, speaking back to the ME-109, they have modeled everything from electrical to hydraulic and fuel systems, as well as the internal lighting and overall texturing of the aircraft, again, as realistic as they possibly could. The flight model is completely custom and has even been validated by real owners of the ME-109. Yes, I call it the ME-109. I've always known it as the Messerschmitt, so just keep that in mind, but I'm meaning the BF-109, ME-109, same basic aircraft. But this was a very, very hot aircraft. It was a very tiny aircraft, you guys. If you guys have ever seen inside of one of these things, you would know what I'm talking about. But a great way to get that impression is if you guys fly this thing in virtual reality. I promise it will be very, very shocking compared to 2D. You get into VR in this thing and you're going to get a real shocker of how tiny this little aircraft was. It was very, very fast. It was very, very maneuverable for its time and very hard to see. It was an incredible, incredible aircraft. It was also extremely nasty on the ground. Landing and taxiing were very, very dangerous due to its very, very narrow landing gears. You guys can see there that wheelbase is extremely shortened. And I believe in later versions, they actually opened that up for that reason. It was very common to ground looping if you were not paying attention, and it was very, very unstable in crosswind landings due to that narrow wheelbase, again, making it very scary on landings and takeoffs. But up in the air, he was extremely formidable and a very, very dangerous aircraft to be having on your tail. So again, that is the FlyingIron Simulations BF-109, available on their website, 45 Australian dollars. NATO posted on their Facebook page some updates in regards to their C-182 RG2. So this is a Cessna 182 that has a retractable landing gear. Has a top speed of approximately 170 knots with a range of 900 nautical miles. The 182 is a very, very needed aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator, as it boasts all of the power and yet keeping the aesthetics and the overall sense of feeling that comes with a Cessna 172, 182 series of aircraft. The 182 is obviously much more powerful and carries many more features with it, especially with the retractable landing gear. It's going to give you a nice clean fuselage, which is partially why it gets its speed increase. I remember growing up when my father and I flew the 182. There was nothing like it in comparison to the other aircraft that we flew in its class. It was very, very roomy, very, very powerful, and much, much more fun to fly, in my opinion, than the 172 was. So this will definitely be a nice addition. However, remembering that NATO don't always have the best of flight models if you're looking for that truly authentic and absolutely uber realistic flight performance, that's not typically how NATO goes. However, in my personal opinion, I still find their aircraft an absolute joy to fly. Their Mooney is still my favorite in the sim to fly. When it comes to general aviation aircraft, I absolutely love that little aircraft, and it's just a blast to fly. One of my favorite things about NATO is their attention to detail and texturing. Their aircraft are always gorgeous, and they always seem to put a lot of work into their art, making those screenshots and overall visual experience in the aircraft very, very pleasing. Now, one of my favorite things about this is right here, you guys, it is a steam gauge. They did not go with the glass cockpit, which I'm super excited about. I'm all for the glass cockpits. I know they have their purpose, but quite frankly, there were so many of them so fast that I don't want to fly them. It's cool to be able to get back into the steam gauges and get that old nostalgia feeling. I get it. It's 2023. Glass cockpits are absolutely the way of the future. Look at our new modern fighter jets. They are all using glass cockpits as well. But there's just something that is missing when you don't get to see those steam gauges. And it's really cool that they have implemented this with their version of the 182. Now, we don't have any kind of price point or exact release time yet, but they did say that it will be releasing soon. Remember that NATO aircraft always release directly into the Microsoft Flight Simulator marketplace, so it really sounds like it's probably dependent on how long it takes for that to be approved through Microsoft and added to their third-party releases. So keep an eye on the marketplace, guys, and hopefully you have access to a 182 with a retractable landing gear very, very soon. IniBuilds recently stirred up the storm of speculation as they announced their ultimate airline experience will be released at the Sim Expo. Well, not released, but I should say unveiled. Now, we are going to be at the Sim Expo, guys, and I hope to see many of you there as well. We will be sporting Overkill swag, so just look for the Overkill, or just look for the big fat guy, because that's going to be me. But IniBuilds has obviously an impeccable reputation, building a ton of different aircraft as well as scenery throughout the simulation experience, whether it be X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, I have no idea what they're going to unveil here and what they are defining as the ultimate airline experience. That is one big word to boast. But it makes me wonder if they are releasing either a package for airliners or if they're actually releasing a brand new airliner. And if they are, I'm kind of hoping that they go over to the Boeing series of aircraft. I'm really hoping at some point somebody starts stepping away from the Airbus series of aircraft. Microsoft Flight Simulator, in my personal opinion, is very rapidly becoming Airbus Simulator. There's just too many of them at this point. We need some contenders. And there's such a mass and vast variety of aircraft that we could be choosing from that, gosh, why do we keep hanging on to the Airbus? And it makes me think simply because there's already the technology built into the sim, given the different variants of Airbus and how similar the Airbus cockpits are across the cockpit lines in the real world. You know, if you can go from the A330 to an A320 to an A319, you know, going on and on. Even the A380 has a very similar cockpit layout to the A320. Yes, there are some differences, but overall, you could probably navigate your way around it pretty quickly. If you know one, you know the other. So it'd be nice to see them jump away from that. So I'm kind of hoping that this is an engine from something that is like, I don't know, maybe a 767 or a 757. It'd be nice to see. Or maybe a new 747. Gosh, that would be freaking awesome. No offense to Salty at all. They've done an absolutely amazing job with the default, but it'd be kind of cool to see someone put something new out. So, what do you guys think that this is going to be? What do you think they mean by the ultimate airline experience? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Let the debate begin. What's going to happen at Flight Sim Expo in just a few days' time? What do you think IniBuilds has in store for us? Flight Replicas DH83 is now available on the marketplace for 1683 euros, guys. If you guys are interested, believe it or not, this was actually a passenger plane in the 1930s. Could you imagine riding under the belly of this thing right in here? That would be absolutely goofy and I think terrifying. However, I suppose if you hadn't seen anything else, maybe it wouldn't look that bad, given the fact that you wouldn't have seen any of the aircraft that are currently available in today's market. So I guess it's all based on what your exposure was. As you can see, you have both amphibious with landing gear capability, so you guys can switch between your environments of flight and choose which way you want to go. But again, 16 bucks, little over in euros. If you guys are interested in picking this aircraft up, it is once again available on the Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace. All right, you guys, well, that is going to wrap up today's episode of News and Updates. I hope you guys found some valuable information here and got your speculation wheels going and keeping things exciting for the flight simulation experience. Again, guys, we will be at FS Expo 2023. I hope to see you guys all there. Be sure if you guys do run into me, you give me a shout, high five, whatever it may be. And as always, guys, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.